How have presidential executive powers changed over time? Imagine a leader whose authority evolves with the nation's needs, expanding and contracting through history. The scope of presidential powers has undergone significant transformation since the founding of the United States. Initially, the framers of the Constitution envisioned a balanced government with a president who would execute laws but not wield excessive influence. The early presidents, such as George Washington and John Adams, set precedents that define the role primarily as a commander-in-chief and chief diplomat, with limited use of executive orders or unilateral actions. As the country grew and faced new challenges, presidents began to interpret their powers more broadly. During the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln expanded executive authority to preserve the Union, including issuing the Emancipation Proclamation and suspending habeas corpus. These actions demonstrated a willingness to stretch constitutional limits during times of crisis. The subsequent years saw presidents increasingly relying on executive orders to manage government agencies and implement policies without waiting for legislative approval. Executive orders are directives from the president that carry the force of law, and their use has grown significantly over the 20th century. The 20th century marked a notable shift with the rise of the modern presidency. Presidents like Theodore Roosevelt and Franklin D. Roosevelt expanded the role of the executive branch through assertive policies and the use of executive agreements instead of treaties, bypassing the need for Senate approval. Franklin D. Roosevelt's leadership during the Great Depression and World War II exemplified a more active executive role, with the president taking on responsibilities traditionally associated with Congress or the judiciary. Legal and constitutional developments also influenced these changes. The War Powers Resolution of 1973 was enacted to check presidential military authority, requiring the president to consult Congress before deploying armed forces and to withdraw forces after 60 days unless Congress authorizes further action. Despite this, presidents have often viewed the resolution as an advisory measure rather than a strict limit. In recent decades, the expansion of executive powers has continued through national security concerns, emergency declarations, and executive orders. The use of signing statements, where presidents declare their interpretation of legislation, has also increased, sometimes signaling resistance to legislative intent. Overall, presidential powers have grown in scope and complexity, shaped by historical crises, legal interpretations, and the evolving expectations of leadership in a dynamic nation.